This is the new Filzer CC-2 chain cleaner. You'll notice that it's a nice orange color. The first version, the CC-1, was blue. So we made a few improvements on the unit. One thing we did do was add a magnet to the bottom, so we pick up all the little metal bits when you're cleaning the chain. We've added a secondary squeegee, so now there's two squeegees on the front and back, and that will help minimize making a mess with chain fluid going all over the place. And thirdly, we added a bunch of little brushes. Now there's 168 little brushes, more brushes facing inwards on the cogs, and then more facing towards the center of the chain, and vastly improves the cleaning of the chain cleaner. Also, one thing we did do was we went out into the marketplace, bought up a bunch of different chain cleaners out there, looked at them, checked out what worked, what didn't, did some brainstorming, and we think now with this new chain cleaner, with all the updates, it's the best unit on the market. The first thing you want to do is, if your bike is covered in mud and grime, is take it outside, hose down the frame, hose down the front chain rings, the chain, the rear cassette, and get rid of all that excess mud. Otherwise, it'll be really difficult for the chain cleaner to collect all that mud off there. It'll just gunk it all up. The next thing you want to do is make sure you put the bike on a bike stand or lean it against a table so it's very secure and somewhat upright when you're doing this. Also, one thing you want to make sure is that you can turn the cranks around without interference on the front or rear pedal. And next, you want to make sure the chain is either on the center or large chain ring on the front, and at the back is on one of the smaller cogs. It doesn't have to be the smallest one, but one of the smaller cogs. It just makes it easier to clean the chain. Now, before we clean the chain, we'll need some supplies. The first thing you need to get, and you buy this at any or most bike shops, is a chain degreaser or chain cleaner. You want to make sure you get some rags in case you spill some fluid on the floor or on your bike, and also at the end you'll want to wipe down the chain of excess fluid. You may want to put down some newspapers underneath the bike to minimize spillage, minimize making a mess on the floor from spilling fluid around. And also, we recommend that you take a good look at the instructions on how to do this on the back of the packaging. So how do you actually clean the chain? The first step is to put chain degreaser or chain fluid into the chain cleaner up to the fill line. So you want to pop the lever on the top and it'll fold down. You want to take the top off. You want to get your degreaser and pour it into the chain cleaner. Now you want to make sure you put enough that gets to the fill line. If you have a little bit more, it's okay, but what you want to do is make sure that the cogs are submerged in the cleaning fluid. The next thing you can do is you're going to put the chain cleaner under the chain, under the lower part of the chain, not the top section, but the lower section. And you're going to align the chain so it's down the center line of the chain cleaner, and you're going to push the chain into the large center cog. Now, let me just show you how that works. We have a cog here, which is opened up and no brushes on it. And this is the large cog on the left-hand side. And you'll see that there's teeth here. And what you want to do is have the teeth engaged into the chain. So when you're spinning the cranks, the brushes and the cogs spin, and the brushes are brushing the mud away from the chain. So get the chain cleaner, put it on, and make sure the chain is properly on the cog. It's all lined up nicely. Take the top portion, put it on top, and to make it easy, just make sure the filzer is facing you. And then flip the lever over and it locks in place. And now you can actually let go and the chain cleaner will hang from the chain. The next thing you want to do is hold the chain cleaner with your left hand, and you want to be pulling the chain through the chain cleaner. So from left towards the right. You don't want to be pushing the chain through the chain cleaner, but you want to be pulling it through. So you're going to turn the cranks counterclockwise like this, and if you notice, you'll see the chain being pulled forwards. You can see the cog wheel spinning, and you just keep on turning 10 to 15 times until the chain is clean. Also, one thing to remember is when you're holding the chain cleaner, make sure the alignment is nice and straight. You don't want to be twisting the chain cleaner this way or that way or like this. You want it nice and lined up with the chain. Otherwise, you may have problems with jamming. So I'll turn a little bit more, and you can stop, take a look at the chain, see how clean it is. Our chain is pretty clean now. So basically you're done. You pop off the lever, take off the top portion of the chain cleaner, and then put this aside, and make sure you put it somewhere safe and not going to knock it over. I've knocked it over before, and fluid goes all over the place, and that's no fun. The next thing you want to do is get a rag, a clean rag, and once again put it on the chain, spin it, the cranks backwards, counterclockwise, and dry off the chain, and you'll get a little bit more dirt perhaps, and just dry off the chain. That's pretty good. And before you put chain oil or chain lube on the chain, let it sit and dry for 15 minutes or so, so all the cleaning fluid evaporates. What you don't want is the chain lube to mix with any leftover degreaser, and that could damage, thin out the chain oil. So you want it nice and dry before you apply chain lube. And that concludes our demo on how to use the Filzer chain cleaner.